any sudden event, yeah, any event that shakes you, puts you in the cracks between two ideas. Matlab, between sahi and galat, you suddenly reach this gray area. And that's what tragedy does. It leaves you in the in between spaces. And that's what makes these in between spaces a site for exploration and creation, because it's uncharted. It's there's a sense of confusion, there's a sense of awe and pain. When you're stuck there for too long, somebody that's trying to make meaning of what their predicament is will try to make something out of it, and that is art. And I don't see art as only a visual production, a verbal production. It's the very existence. I mean, art is a byproduct of the artist itself, and the artist itself is a piece of art. So we are always creating in these gray spaces that we find ourselves.
We see JJ Jordan singing in Dargah. We see him singing in Jagran. We see him singing in Prague as well with the local musicians. So in the Dargah, he's singing Kun Faya Kun. Jagran, he's singing a religious song, like Hindu religious song. And with Prague, he is singing like Hawa Hawa with their instruments, like they are playing their instruments and he is creating his own music. So what I perceived here is that it implies how he carries his music everywhere and it doesn't restrict him like somewhere. He carries his talent.
सोचने का जरिया गाने के थ्रू, मतलब इम्तियाज अली ऑलवेज गिव्स यू अ मूवी विद अमेजिंग, मतलब म्यूजिकल राइड होती है मूवी, हर एक गाने का उस वक्त मतलब है। तो मुझे वो एक जो मूवी मेकिंग का उनका जो कंसेप्ट है और जो एक कहानी को वो गानों के थ्रू एक्सप्रेस करते हैं ना, दैट इज अमेजिंग। मतलब मुझे नहीं लगता कि कोई भी इंडियन डायरेक्टर इतने अमेजिंग तरीके से एक म्यूजिकल जर्नी पे आपको लेके जाता है।
No, that's true. Actually, Rockstar Mate stands out that the songs are interwoven into the story so well that you don't feel anything is out of place.
It's not a movie. It's like a whole journey of a person from being innocent to broken to destroyed, right? So I really love the part where they have shown everything in a way that you can picturize it with the help of the songs also. That is the most beautiful part. And about the music, I cannot see, I cannot actually point out if any of the song is bad. I just cannot. It's like all the songs have their own different meanings. They have all their own vibes. You can vibe on any song anytime you want, right? So I love Katiya Karu also. I love Tum Ho also. Shahar Mein Hu Main Tere. All the songs are very good. But again, when if you have to point out one song out of it, I'll just say Kun Faya Kun, of course, because it's like so it's kind of a trance song. So there are two songs like that. This one is Kun Faya Kun and another is Sea of Dreams, from BoJack Horseman.
With Jordan, I lived the journey of him. Like I think someone said he from being innocent to broken to destroyed. And things about songs which I like, they have already been covered, like the line from Nadan Parinde. But I like the song Hawa Hawa. Why? Because it parallels with the story of Heer at that time in the movie. Like उसमें एक line है, सोने की दीवारें मुझे खुशी ना ये दे पाए, आजादी दे दे मुझे मेरे खुदा. Like it's like he is married to a rich wealthy man and she is living in Prague, but yet she is not happy. She wants that freedom she had before marriage. So yeah, the lyricists and music composers are amazing of this movie. कि ये movie before shooting that they had this all things ready, like this has to come in context with this thing in the song. And I think that made the music and the lyrics like unforgettable. And even one thing I noticed is that the background score, it's being used from the songs of the movies only, like when the Prague is shown, and this Heer is exploring again with him in Prague. Then there is Katya Karu in using Western instruments. So yeah, that adds a touch of old here. And now she has been living in the new city, like in westernized country. So yeah, that was the touch I like. And most favorite song for me is Nadan Parinde, because hands down the lyrics are just amazing. And in context of the movie, these are most amazing lyrics I have ever heard of in the recent times.
First thing I'd start with is appreciating Kumud Mishra's character, Khatana. I think Kumud Mishra has been one of the most finest actors we have. If you have guys seen his other movies as well, damn good actor. And I think I think Rockstar is something from which we started recognizing him. And he plays a phenomenal role in the movie. Second thing I say is Rockstar movie represents to me as an obsession, because what obsession one can have towards his art, how a person comes out, learns about his art, how he expresses his art, how mad he is about his art can be seen throughout JJ's journey to in the movie. That can be his innocence towards the art in the beginning, where he doesn't know what is music. The Katana tells him, okay, music toote dil se nikalta hai. Then afterwards, he goes to Dargah. He sings with the Sufi singers. He learns the essence of God, spirituality towards his art. Then he meets Ustad during the recording session. Then he learns what is classical music, and his talent is getting recognized. And when he starts respecting the art also respects him. Then how he gains popularity during the movie afterwards, towards the end of the movie.
This is this statement, is it a casual trope that we all kind of cater to, or does it actually have some substance behind it? What is it about tragedy and pain that drives us? Has this ever happened with you as well, that you have created something out of maybe some certain pain, or some tragedy, or some thing that you've faced, or is it also about tragedy? What is it that draws us towards a particular artist as an audience?
As a writer, I think that any sudden event, any event that shakes you, puts you in the cracks between two ideas. Matlab, between sahi and galat, you suddenly reach this gray area. And that's what tragedy does. It leaves you in the in-between spaces. And that's what makes these in-between spaces a site for exploration and creation, because it's uncharted. It's there's a sense of confusion, there's a sense of awe and pain. When you're stuck there for too long, somebody that's trying to make meaning of what their predicament is will try to make something out of it, and that is art. And I don't see art as only a visual production, a verbal production. It's the very existence. I mean, art is a byproduct of the artist itself, and the artist itself is a piece of art. So we are always creating in these gray spaces that we find ourselves. Every piece of music felt like a journey towards freedom. From Katya Karu, it's childhood rebellion and teenage rebellion, and just sort of figuring out like exploration like that. Just do whatever, drink whatever, try go to different places, go to cheap theaters, and sort of just explore that kind of freedom. Kun Fayo Kun is a spiritual kind of freedom from just confusion, from just sort of not understanding, not just understanding complexities of life, just being thrown out of the house and then sort of not understanding where to go, kya karu. Spirituality helped him break out. And then there is I don't bahut saal pehle dekhi, I don't remember the order of the songs, but Hawa Hawa mein this idea of breaking out, this idea of finding freedom and finding bliss in whatever little you can get, however you can transcend walls, is celebrated. फिर नादान परिंदे में भी वही होता है. साडा हक में भी वही rebellion, freedom, breaking out, and it's so relatable for me and anybody actually, because what everybody's trying to do is break out of their situation, break out of and find freedom in no matter which situation they are in and no matter which sort of emotion they are in. So for me, every song was a quest for freedom.
जस्ट मतलब कि ट्रेजेडी से या फिर जो भी अपने साथ होता है उसकी वजह से आर्ट, तो मुझे वही कहना था कि आर्ट ऐसा जरूरी नहीं कि ट्रेजेडी से आता है, मतलब बाहर निकलता है, बाकी बहुत कुछ रह सकता है। लेकिन ये जो फिल्म में दिखाया है, जैसे कि वो स्टार्टिंग में बोलता है कि जिम मॉरिसन सीधा मिडिल फिंगर दिखा रहा है और वो सब ताली बजा रहे हैं, ऐसा ऐसा बोलता, तो उसको उससे ज्यादा अट्रैक्टेड था और वो बस स्टैंड में जाके गाना में, मतलब वो दूसरे लोग के लिए गाना गाना चाहता था, वो फेमस होने के लिए गाना गाना चाहता था। तो उसको ऐसा हो रहा था, लेकिन जब वो उसके साथ कुछ गुजरता है और वो दिल से गाने लगता है खुद से, मतलब तो जब जाके असली सबको उसका फीलिंग समझ में आता है, तो वो अच्छे तरीके से दिखाया पिक्चर में, तो मुझे अच्छा लगा वो दिखाने का। और दूसरा कि अपन जब हर्ट होते हैं, तो जैसे कि हर्ट होने के टाइम पे कुछ अपना आर्ट नहीं निकलता है। जैसे कि अगर अपन गिर गए तो अपन को लगता है दर्द में कुछ फील होता है, अपन उसमें रहते। जब अपना दर्द खत्म हो जाता है, जब अपन उससे बाहर निकलना चाहते हैं दर्द से, और सामने वाले को अपना फीलिंग बताना चाहते हैं कि मेरे साथ जो हो रहा है वो फीलिंग शेयर करना चाहते हैं, जब वो आर्ट बन के बाहर निकलते।
So I agree. I mean, I don't have anything fresh to share, but I agree that art doesn't just come from feeling sad or something bad happening with a person. It's just that मैं ऐसा सोचता हूँ कि काफी बार, and I don't have the reason or rationale behind that, but काफी बार ऐसा होता है कि when heart breaks, then somehow we start understanding the depth of life, things happening around us, philosophy, spirituality, ये सब चीजों के करीब हम आ जाते हैं in comparison to when good times हमारे करीब रहते हैं. So when we feel good, obviously art comes from emotions, but when we feel good, हम अक्सर डेथ, लाइफ के डेथ के बारे में कम सोचते हैं compared to जब हमारे साथ कुछ बुरा होता है. So I think that's where things come. I'm just speaking out of experience. As such, proper ऐसा कुछ ज्ञान नहीं है.
Essentially, art does not come from a sad place or from a broken heart, but I think we are able to correlate to art better when we are in a sad place. Also, I think in context of the movie, what he wanted to tell Jordan was that all great artists, so if you just move away from music also, if you look at Van Gogh was in a very sad place when he was painting his masterpieces. I think what he was trying to say was that a lot of famous artists were recognized for the work that they did when they were in a sad place or when they were in a, when they had a broken heart. I think that is what he was trying to push.
It's not the prime catalyst, but I think from personal experience and from what I have followed singing or art form in general, I feel that pain is a very, very necessary part of the art, because even the great authors, great singers, great poet, we see that there is some kind of depth which comes with hurt, because as somebody mentioned, that hurt makes you introspect a lot more than other stages of your life, or tragedy makes you introspect a lot. And once you come out of it, definitely you are an inspiration. But even when you are in that zone, you are actually seeing yourself. And since you see yourself, you are able to reflect it better in whatever art forms you create. So I think tragedy is a blessing in disguise, if I put it that way.
I don't think so that art, like tragedy is necessary for creating art. Like you can think of it like a good art will, like when a person is emotional or they have like whether you're elated or whether you're sad, like there is good amount of energy which is inside you, like in the form of angst, whether in the form of happiness, like you're like you want to express it out, like maybe in the form of dance. So you have energy inside you, and like whatever kind of art you perform, like maybe singing, maybe dancing, maybe like a drawing, so you'll try to channelize that energy into it, and I think that is what it will like that will make it better. Like I mean, like that energy will make it like all the good arts will have some kind of emotions behind it for sure, not necessarily bad. When a person is going through tragedy, you're going through your lowest, and tragedy questions your faiths and beliefs. Whatever you believed so far, it kind of questions it, and you start observing things which you were not observing so far. Like when you are happy, you don't even, like, you don't pay attention to a lot of things, versus when you're sad, you kind of start relating to things which are happening around you, which were there, but you probably didn't relate to them so much. So I think the questioning which happens, and it kind of gives you the depth which we are looking in these art forms, like, and people are able to relate because like ultimately when we say something is good, it is because we are able to relate, right? Like why
Right.
did you like the song? Because there is something in that line, like in that song, like particular line which hit you very hard, because you were able to relate. If you're not able to relate, the song would not mean anything to you. I mean, so I think, like, and again, as a human, we tend to look towards the things which like we have a tendency of looking towards the things which, like, when things are not going right. So it kind of goes into that direction as well. I mean, like, yeah.
I don't believe that टूटे दिल से ही संगीत निकलता है. उससे निकलता है obviously, but there are other things as well. Like if you take Freddie Mercury's example, so when he started out, it was not tragic really. It was only for the love of music, for the art form that he started writing. And then eventually, as life progresses, tragedy hits you, one or the other event happens. That is how your songs evolve. So tragedy might help you to evolve, make your songs more heartfelt, better, but it might not necessarily be the catalyst to start writing. And the other part of this question, that what draws us into tragedy, is because I feel tragedy is what binds us all as humans, because we may not always have or experience the same amount of happiness in our lives, but all of us have experienced tragedy at some point every day. We motivate ourselves or others by saying this one very cliched line ki तुमको तो इतना सब मिला है, उसकी लाइफ में देखो कितना दुख है.
So as a writer, I believe that art comes from everything. It can be happiness, it can be sadness, anxiety, depression. It could be anything. But it's a very very beautiful quote. I have heard it somewhere and I have applied it in my life, that जो सुख होता है वो हमेशा कम लगता है, पर जो दुख होता है वो हमेशा ज्यादा लगता है. कभी भी आपको हो तो वो आपको सुख हमेशा कम लगेगा पर दुख हमेशा ज्यादा लगेगा. तो आप जब भी कुछ ऐसा कुछ लिखोगे जो आप दुख मन से लिख रहे हो, तो वो लोगों को ज्यादा रिलेट करेगा. अभी आप किसी के लिए कुछ लिख दो मोटिवेशन पे या कुछ, तो लोग 2 बार पढ़ेंगे, 3 बार पढ़ेंगे, बड़ा अच्छा लगेगा, पर वो उसको बार बार नहीं पढ़ेंगे, वो उनके दिमाग में छपेगा नहीं. वही वाली बात है. और जब आप उसको एक दुखी पर्सपेक्टिव से कोई चीज को लिखते हो, तो वो चीज उनके दिमाग में छप जाती है, because they are going through it or may go through it.
Basically, who do you think is the voice of Rockstar? Is it Imtiaz Ali? Is it Mohit Chauhan? Is it Ranbir Kapoor? Is it A.R. Rahman? Who represents the voice of Rockstar?
Vision, definitely Imtiaz Ali. For some reason, I have this strong gut feeling that a lot of it is personal. Either, if not personal, then happened to people around him, people whom he's known, or the places that he's seen. But I also believe that it is not one singular person ka awaaz. It is like one of those very few projects wherein everybody comes together to give that unified voice. मतलब अगर मैं मोहित चौहान, for some reason I could be wrong, but आज अगर मैं मोहित चौहान के बदले, even if I have had the liberty to choose another brilliant singer for Ranbir, I would have still selected Mohit Chauhan. A.R. Rahman के बजाय कोई और भी अगर आता, ठीक है, तो भी मुझे लगता है कि somehow things have gelled well. These two people, the lyricist Irshad Kamil, everybody's understood the vision of Rockstar, and ये सब मेरे हिसाब से together become the voice. I'm sorry शायद diplomatic answer लगेगा, but that's what I believe.
No, that's actually pretty fair, because yeah, in essence, it's not a solo act, it is a band. If you look at the behind the scenes, the way these three function, Mohit Chauhan and Ranbir Kapoor and Imtiaz Ali. It's like they had such kind of candor and rapport with each other. They're calling each other Babaji.
Okay, so I'll start my answer with the main voice behind the film. I guess like no matter whatever the film is, if it is a drama or is it musical or something, I think the first person for me which comes in a mind is the director of the film. And like Imtiaz Ali has surely done a great job in this film. Not forgetting, like, of course, for music, you need a singer, you need a background artist for the same, you need all the different, like, a lot of people behind everything. But the final execution, when it comes, how the shot is going to come, how the music is going to be added, what scene should be there when the music will be played, it's all decided by the director. And I think while portraying these things in the film, it was pretty much done like perfectly and really well. So yeah, I think Imtiaz Ali would be my main voice.
So let's talk about the relationship of Heer and Jordan. Which you think which starts on this very this concept that he wants to get his heart broken, and then very superficial that you can see it in the scene as well, where he's trying to get his heart broken, and when she says no, he's literally acting that okay, my heart is broken now, and it comes in, and it's done so well by Ranveer. So do you think that about Heer and Jordan, was there any at the start of it, or maybe throughout as the movie went forward, was there any actual depth to the relationship, or was it just Jordan pursuing this notion that I'll get my heart broken? That did Jordan deep down somewhere know that pursuing a married woman will result in my heart getting broken, and finally I'll achieve what I want to be? This grand a picture that is drawn about tragedy and this tragic artist.
For me, the movie was divided into 3 parts, और वो सारे parts hug से शुरू होते हैं. The first hug starts in शायद Jammu and Kashmir, if I'm not wrong, when Heer was ready but Jordan was not. And उसके बाद एक अलग कहानी शुरू होती है, और फिर दूसरी बार जब प्राग में वो Jordan was ready, but Heer was not ready due to some societal pressure that what will people say and things like that. She was married and all. And after that, a different story start, a different Jordan comes into picture. And the third hug, when Heer comes from Prague to India, and Heer, when both was ready. And after that, the third story starts. So for me, the movie was divided into 3 parts, and all parts started with a hug.
I think it's my personal opinion, and I think as much as I've seen the movie, he forgot about being a singer in the mid. He just gave up the thought itself. He said that when Katana Bhai also said that, अरे वो platinum music वाले लोग आए हैं, and he kept on saying him कि कल मिलता हूँ. उस time पे he forgot about it. And as you said, there was no depth and something. So yes, in the starting, even I will say that so there was a point where it escalated very quickly. That is something which I always find kind of how like ऐसे कैसे हो गया, जैसे in one scene he just said to him कि आजा तुझसे कुछ बात करनी है. Just 2-3 scenes were there जहाँ पे वो झिझकता है, and then she calls him and said कि आजा तुझसे कुछ बात करनी है, right? तो एकदम से ऐसा क्या उसके माइंड में चेंज हो गया व्हेन उसने पहले ही बोल दिया था कि तू मुझको दिखना नहीं, मैं तेरे हाथ पैर तोड़वा दूंगी एंड ऑल दैट. तो एक वहां पे मेरे को थोड़ा सा ट्रांजिशन में एक वो लगा कि दिस कुड हैव बीन शोन बेटर, देन इट वुड हैव बीन अ परफेक्ट पिच इन दैट सेंस. बट अपार्ट फ्रॉम दैट, yes, first point में it's like yeah, he was not at all very kind of into him, and he also said the same कि मैं तुझसे कोई प्यार व्यार नहीं करता हूँ, मेरे को कोई इंटरेस्ट नहीं है, मुझे तो तू हॉट भी नहीं लगती, कूल भी नहीं लगती एंड ऑल दैट, राइट? तो उसने उसको सीधे सीधे बोल दिया था. It's the amount of time they spent with each other, that's what made the relationship, that's what made the bond actually. And that was also not kind of a bond. In Jordan's head, it was just a good friendship, that's it. The friendship developed over when they went to Kashmir and they had a escape. And after that, when he said कि तू आ जाना प्राग, हम लोग ये करेंगे वो करेंगे and all that, then he realized in his head कि अच्छा ये तो अब चली जाएगी, अब मैं क्या करूंगा, वो चीज. That was the point there, right? And after that, Jordan came back to that Piyush sir's office and says कि तुम मुझको ले चलो यूरोप, मैं कुछ भी करने को रेडी हूँ and all that. That is the moment of realization कि वो एक बार बस उसको देखना चाहता है. That's what he wants. right? So there was a depth, but yeah, it was layered.
That's very beautifully summarized, actually. Yeah, you're right that the relationship fleshes out throughout the movie as it goes on. And about the scene where she's about to get married and Jordan asks her कि कहीं तू मेरे प्यार व्यार में तो नहीं पड़ गई. It's like Channa Mereya, but in reverse, where Ranbir is standing and it's a reverse emotion over there. So yeah.
I think initially, if to answer your question, initially both of them don't know what they're getting into, right? Jordan is just going into it for the heck of it. He wants his heart broken, and once it ostensibly happens, he just goes ahead and has a samosa and asks for the missing chutney in it. So that's what it meant to him. For Heer also, he is sort of an escape from the caged life that she's living in. We can't forget that she was already engaged to be married when they started going out, so-called, right? So she already knew that she's engaged to be married to someone else, but she saw the freedom and the joy that she got in being with Jordan, and that is what I think made her fall in love with him, right? As for him, he वो होता है ना कि जब तक हमारी आंखों की मतलब हमसे कोई चीज दूर नहीं हो रही होती, हमें पता नहीं लगता कि उसकी कीमत क्या है. So जब वो उसको जाते हुए देखता है, actually that now she's going to get married, she's going to be in someone else's arms, she's not going to be accessible to me, etc., etc. That is when it hits him. But it's not till he sees her again he actually realizes that what is the intensity that he feels for her. And same for her, because she realizes that the life that she's living, she actually gets sick when she moves to Prague.
So about both of their relationships, the relationship between Jordan and Heer, I think they are two people who love each other but also can destroy each other. So we have seen this multiple times in the film, that absence of any one of any one person, it kills the other person. So there's a shot where we see Jordan can't sleep. So he's restless, he gets up, वो उठ के बैठ जाता है. And then eventually at the end, when he gets pregnant, और जब भी जॉर्डन को पता लगता है, जब मैंडी उसको कॉल करती है, he feels guilty कि मेरी वजह से he went into a coma and he slams that phone on the wall. So yeah, it's that kind of relationship for me.
The beginning of the relationship was obviously a bit frivolous because he was completely clueless. I think his agenda was completely different. He just, came across this notion from Katana Bai that, in order to become a great artist, you need to have pain and tragedy in your life. And I think he took it a bit way too seriously. Of course, initially he just went on with the idea of, receiving tragedy in his life until, towards the end, what we see is tragedy not just consumes him or sort of, he doesn't just get obsessed with tragedy, but it kind of possesses him completely, and he completely drenches himself in tragedy. And I think he's very well aware of the fact that he is completely drowning himself in tragedy, and he allows himself to be. In fact, in my real life also, I've seen a lot of people who really like the idea of tragedy. It's like, yeah, it's like some kind of nasha. It's like some kind of addiction that you can't get out of. Like, even if you know it's causing you pain, but you just can't get out of the fact that tragedy is consuming you, because you're so much dependent on tragedy that it has just become a part and parcel of your life. And that is exactly what happens. If I talk about the central characters, which is Heer and Jordan, I don't find them either likable or dislikable, because I genuinely don't know much about them. What do we know about Heer? At least when it comes to me, I don't know about her background. There is no backstory. I just know that she's from Kashmir. She likes dancing. She likes to break some rules and does some crazy pub crawling activities in cheap pubs. And when it comes to Jordan, from the very beginning, I know that, okay, ये बंदा तो बहुत passionate है music के बारे में, but at the end of the day, I just feel that he loses his passion completely. So I genuinely, at this age probably, and also Ranbir Kapoor's character was a bit of a man-child who was throwing shit fit. And because I've watched this movie at the age of 34 just yesterday, it is a little difficult for me to sort of relate to these characters. I'm sorry. So probably for me, I think he's more in love with the idea of falling in love with Heer. And I think there's a very thin line between falling in love and being habituated to someone. I think they just both became so habituated to having each other's company and the kind of, kick and the fun that they had with each other, because there was genuine void in their life. Heer was very distant from her family, is what I know, or whatever is portrayed. He was clearly, abandoned by his family, Jordan, I'm talking about. So naturally, when they came with each other in their company, it doesn't have to be love, but they just found themselves to be very much themselves with each other. So I think that probably was the basis of the relationship. It doesn't really have to be love, really. But yes, I think towards the end, it's just, probably the tragedy is what, completely consumes him. And there's one more thing that I really liked about this movie is, although Ranbir's character was that of a man-child and was a little bit, I wouldn't say toxic, but very aggressive, he doesn't get rewarded. So there was no glorification of that, because he is the one who gets punished, because he is the reason why he dies, because, she gets pregnant because of him. So that is one thing that, I think sort of, life sort of gives him a lesson that, you were so passionate about music, but you didn't pursue that. You had this girl, but then you both fucked up and you both screwed up. So yeah, I think that is more that sort of sums up to me when it comes to, when I'm talking about both the central characters.
So one of the best things I found in their relationship that Jordan and he shared was that how, fearlessly they were with each other. Like there was a side to them, which I think is very well captured in Katya Karu, where, he sheds off the entire personality that she had for the world, because she comes from this posh background and she has these elite friends from what I could understand. And then with him, she's a different version altogether. Same goes with Jordan. I mean, there's a side to him where he's exploring all the things he may not have done, like with someone shared such intimate experiences. So, and she understands him in ways where probably from that there's a specific scene, if I can recall, where, she catches him that he's pretending to act drunk, where he's like, he hasn't experienced drinking before. That very, like, it's a very small scene, but it captures the intimacy between these two characters, between these two people who have let their guards down and who are like themselves entirely with each other.
In Sadak, he said one line in between the song that like there was a forest, and after the forest was cut, a city was built, which was always maintained and rules were regulated and all of that. But Parindu ke jhund ud gaye. I think what the two characters in among the friends represented was kind of like the city version of themselves, where they were like he was like proper, neat and clean, and he was just a songwriter. But when they two meet, that freedom to like go to wherever they want and do all kinds of things which others would say is madness. Like for Heer, she goes to that Jangli Jawani thing. For Jordan, it was that drinking scene, the wilderness that we all have within ourselves that can flourish with whoever we are the closest with.
I might be wrong here. Please correct me if I'm wrong. But now that I think about it, like if you're in a relationship with someone, you obviously have that phase where you both are incredibly in love with each other and have no stress about what's going to happen in the future. You're just happy for the present. There's no stress about the future, and you're incredibly in love with each other. But now that I think about it, I don't think Heer and Jordan had any moment in film where they were truly perfectly happy without any stress. In the beginning, Jordan, I think, doesn't realize that he loves Heer when she's about to get married before moving to Prague. Then when he meets her in Prague, Heer is married. Again, not a perfect situation. And then later when he meets her, she is sick. And sorry for spoilers if you haven't seen it, she dies. So I think they really haven't been in that, how do I say, strawberry dunya that they expected it to be. And this, I think, is obvious from the soundtrack also. If you see, there are, I think, like 10 or 15 songs in the entire soundtrack, but only one of them is a truly romantic, proper romantic song, Tum Ho by Mohit Chauhan. I remember waiting till the end where Jordan is on stage and after he dies and she comes up, he looks at her, and then Tumko is playing there, not Tum Ho, Kavita Krishnamurthy. And I'm waiting that when does Tum Ho play? it has like the movie's about to end, but Tum Ho hasn't come properly. And that's when the movie shifts like from Kavita's voice to Mohit's voice, and that's the entire part where it's like a dream sequence. Both of them are running in the garden holding hands, and that's when Mohit song starts with Kahi Se Kahi Ko. So that's what I think the perfect situation that they both wanted. It never really came in Jordan's life. It wasn't with Heer the way he expected himself to be.
I feel about Heer and Jordan, the thing is, like, Heer is this person who's in the pedestal, like, of St. Stephen's. Like, no one even talks to her. Like, all guys here just with the intention of, like, hitting on her. That's the only, like, she's not looking for that kind of thing. And initially, when Jordan was behind her, like, there's a moment where Heer catches Jordan and he's like, what do you want? Like, kya chahiye tumko? Like, and Jordan is like, sorry. And he just freaks out. He doesn't know what to do, right? And at that
Right.
point, I feel like at that instant, like he doesn't want to get his heart broken anymore. He doesn't want anything. And then later on, you see in the film that Heer catches up with Jordan and she says that's when she lets her guard down. She lets her guard down and she's like, you know what? There is this version of me, the Jungli Jawani version of me. So I feel like both of them were not looking to be in a relationship or they were not looking for love. They were looking for like friendship. They were just wanting to like
True.
be comfortable in each other's, space and time. Then I don't know, maybe at Kashmir, when they went to Kashmir, they realized like this is not what they wanted. Like they were falling in love with each other, but it couldn't happen, right? She was getting married.
Right.
Yeah, and then again in Prague, all those kind of things, it happened because it was not planned to, it was not meant to. Like they never intended to fall in love. It just happened because it was very unintentional, right? That's how life works.
Do you think towards the end of the movie, is there any Janardhan left inside Jordan as a person? And to club that with another, what do you think happens to Jordan's character after there is no Heer in his life?
Yeah, I don't think there's Janardhan left because during Satyahak again, he says a dialogue where he says कि मैं परिंदों का झुंड ढूंढ रहा हूँ. I thought that he implied, I don't know if it's correct or not. He implies that he's finding his true self, which he has lost after he went to Prague and everything that happened. And at the end, again, the song Nadan Parinde, he's again trying to find his own true self. Ki Nadan Parinde Ghar Aa Ja.
So I say Janardhan is still there in Jordan. It's just that Janardhan has kind of evolved over time. To make myself clearer, Janardhan, when he was in college, he was way too gullible. But when things are way clear, he still can't see the truth. Case in point, the friends who kind of exploit him, other things, okay? Though he's able to see the advances of his bhabi in the house, but other than that, the point I'm trying to arrive at is कि जो life के बड़ी चीजें हैं, which can be seen very clearly, he was too gullible to notice those things. But as he steps into the world of music and he meets different kinds of people, right from Dhingra to and everyone, he kind of begins to gain an awareness about what life is. Even to the point that when he's invited by his friends in that pub, and he goes with the thought कि हाँ बहुत सालों बाद मिल रहे हैं, but he realizes that they're only there because of his fame. So my answer is Janardhan is still there. He's just got a better idea of what the world is, and unfortunately his idea of the world is that the world is very harsh, and the only beautiful thing is Heer, or the time spent with Heer. The answer to the second question is most probably Janardhan will kill himself, but it may not. So the suicide may not be instantaneous. It will be gradual, because the way I see Janardhan is he's a more of a self-sabotage person. वो अपनी खुद की बजाता है, ठीक है? And at that point in time, Jordan is aware. There was a point in his time wherein he was not aware why he's becoming aggressive, why he's behaving the way he should not be behaving. But then he slips through that phase and he realizes that he's aware of what he is doing. And then he's come to that point wherein वो चाहता है कि ऐसे ही हो. Like he could have stopped behaving that way, but no, he wants to be consumed in that self-destruction. So he will he will basically lead a life of immense suffering and then kill himself.
Rockstar is kind of a movie we relate to it because it's very real. It's very real life to us. If you talk about yourself in the teenage and you talk about yourself now, you will also see that a person is evolving, as Burgess said, right? That we are evolving. But it's like you create an alternate ego inside yourself, right? And then the earlier version just cannot overcome the other version. That's what happens, and that is what happened. Jordan overtook Janardhan in that. The innocence, the gullibility, everything is gone, everything is washed away, maybe because of the world, maybe because of the situations or anything, but it's washed away now and it cannot come back. And there are different kind of emotions now in him which are very aggressive, which are very destructive, and as Bajaj said, that he's a very self-sabotage person. Yeah, so again, I'm a writer, and I think from a perspective that again, it will be a very good story if we do not end it on a death, but again, it will not be satisfying to us. It's like it should end on a death, right? So I also think in my head that yeah, he might die, but not instantly. It will be like he will keep writing songs for her and stay alcoholic, stay like that, and then he will die in her memory. That's what he will do.
I think that Jordan continues to live on. And of course, everybody dies eventually, so he will die eventually, but he continues to live, and he continues to live in guilt. But he does not give up on his music. So the way I look at the movie, he gets into a brawl, he gets beaten up by the cops. He still runs away from it all and makes it to the concert anyhow. And he sings. Now, why does he sing? Because when he sings, he can bring Heer back to life. We see during the course of his singing, she actually emerges, from beneath the earth. She emerges and he can see her. And that is what calms him down. He goes into that trance-like state again, like in Kun Faya, the next time when he's singing. I'm sorry, I'm forgetting the context. But yeah, so he will keep on bringing her back to life with his music till the time he's able to carry on with his life, is what I feel happens to him.
I think after he dies, it will be very tragic if JJ dies. That's what everyone is expecting. कि यार दुख दर्द में डूब के मर जाएगा बंदा लास्ट में. But I would say if he has an ending, something like he keeps on singing and singing in memories of Heer forever. Like have you seen the A Star Is Born, where she keeps on singing in his memories? I think that would be such a beautiful ending to that movie.
I feel like compared to like initially Janardhan, then to Jordan, only common thing was Heer. Like the moment where he was not there in Jordan's life, Janardhan's life, technically he was Jordan. Like he was very rude to his fans. It was always his rock star attitude, like very rude to everyone, like never does a show on time. He was very passionate towards music, yes, but like the Janardhan who was there in campus, who was very sweet to his friends, was very nervous around girls, who used to like run around, that was not there anymore. Like when he met Heer back again, that sweet part came back. The version where he talks very slowly, the part where he's very sweet. But so I feel like the only part of Janardhan that's left in Jordan was Heer. Like when he started going into the music industry, he was just Jordan. He was just that famed, Jim Morrison's duplicate or something like that.
Can you picture anyone other than okay, first of all, the decision of keeping one particular singer for the entire album, it's not particularly popular in Bollywood. You would want to have a certain kind of variety, which was a pretty risk move back in 2011. Do you picture anyone else as the voice of Jordan other than Mohit Chauhan? And I asked this question because he was not the first choice for his voice. It was Sonu and KK.
Okay, I'm not saying that only Mohit Chauhan could have pulled it off. Okay, obviously KK could have also done it because KK ka voice range was solid hai. Like if you have to sing at a very high pitch, perhaps KK is one of those few singers, or perhaps the only singer in Bollywood जिसका pitch बहुत high है. So perhaps KK could have done justice. मैं ना नहीं बोलूँगा. But अब मसला ऐसा हो गया कि मोहित चौहान को सुनने के बाद मन नहीं करता किसी और को कंसिडर करें. also Mohit Chauhan. So also another reason is कि अगर आप काफी टाइम तक बॉलीवुड गाने सुनोगे ना, तो मोहित चौहान का जो वॉइस क्वालिटी है, that brings another level of freshness. Mohit Chauhan, even when Janardhan is singing right at the start, जब वो यूथफुल क्वालिटी भी लाता है मोहित चौहान, एंड मोहित चौहान जब जनार्दन जॉर्डन बनता है, इवन इन द एंड जब वो गाता है, वो जो वॉइस मैच्योर होती है, ही ब्रिंग्स बोथ द शेड्स वेरी ब्यूटीफुली. ठीक है, सो अब इतना सुनने के बाद मन करता है मोहित चौहान ही हो.
Also, I think it's got a lot to do with his involvement in Silk Route. He gets the band spirit, apart from being a solo singer. There's that thing inside him that he, as a live performer, and all these mannerisms that yeah, all these things I can't really
बहुत
picture.
अर्धी वॉइस है उसकी.
Yes.
बहुत ही अर्धी. There's no urbanism. वो एक innocence है. वो rustic जो है ना, जो जनार्दन का कैरेक्टर लेकर आता है. Like even जनार्दन जब वो जब बात करता है as a college student, वो हरियाणवी दिल्ली है. Like
Yes.
that accent.
Yeah.
Which I think that singer can pull it off.
I think Imtiaz Ali, I think he introduced kind of Mohit Chauhan to us with Tumse Hi. Because people who don't know Silk Route, because I am born in late 90s to 1999. So for me, his first song was Tumse Hi. And then he gave another hit of Tune Jo Na Ka from New York. Then it was Duriya from Love Aajkal. And then he kind of took over. And there was this Tamil movie which was 3, if you know why this Kolavari song for the movie. So he sang 2 songs for that movie as well, which were super duper hit in the South, because I stay in Hyderabad, so I know they were super duper hit songs. That's how people in South know Mohit Chauhan. And I think if he has done justice to this album, I think I would suggest one more name. I don't know if you guys know him well. Is Mohammad Irfan. If you guys know him, know the singer. Maybe the voice quality not matches Mohit Chauhan, but he has that kind of range when he's singing as well. So yeah, Mohammad Irfan would be, maybe he would have done decent of a job, not as good as Mohit Chauhan has done.